think a widespread problem is just thinking from the very beginning. Definitely in the past, and what I've seen is kind of remembering what that actual key objective is, and not getting so tied into kind of, we want to do social media, for example. Like, social media is massive, we want to do it, and it's just like, oh, hang on, let's bring it back. Let's go back to the beginning. What are we trying to gain here? Whether that is brand exposure, or selling a product, or it's bringing it fully to the beginning to say, well, where are those people going to see this? Where is the most important channel? Where
Welcome, Anna. Anna is the account manager for Fluid Communications, a creative services company providing graphic design, marketing, and communications expertise to business, academic, and non-profit organisations. Before that, Anna worked on accounts across luxury top brands, and proving that account managers can do 6 things at once. Anna's also a personal trainer who you can follow at Holloway X Fitness _ on Instagram. In her current role at Fluid, Anna manages accounts in the private and public sectors and is in charge of delivering results with large and small budgets on a national level. We've asked Anna on today because of her experience in delivering marketing results for a range of clients in B2C and B2B sectors. I'm joined, of course, as always, by Astra, Head of Advertising.
Hello, nice to be here with you, Anna.
And of course, as I've introduced her, Anna. So thanks for coming on, Anna.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I feel a bit privileged that you want me to be on here.
But this is episode 10 of on the same landing page. So it's a nice round number. It's
quite momentous for us, actually. There you go.
We've got some momentum. So you're currently an account manager. How, just to start from from a client's point of view, what is it that you do, and what is it? Who are the type of people that you work with and that you help?
So the kind of people that we help can, in terms of individuals within the business, can be anyone, kind of from, in the past I've worked with director level CEOs, right down to kind of marketing professionals or communication professionals. It kind of varies depending on the business and who is in that business. A lot of the time, agencies are used through their marketing function. We like to see ourselves as kind of almost like a part of their team, just on the side. Basically. So so we can help kind of anyone in the business that needs help, but predominantly it's the marketing professionals who need our kind of expertise as a side to their internal team.
Okay, so if you were to think of 2 projects, one with a really strong account manager involved and one without, what would the one that has one involved benefit from?
I think it's just looking at it from a different point of view from my experience. Often you can have kind of marketing teams who've got a clear focus on what they want for their business. They're in their business day in, day out. They know their business like the back of their hand. So I think it's sometimes there's a value, someone who isn't in the business every single day and kind of sees everything that goes on, to say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? What about this angle? I know you want to do that campaign, but where is it going? What are we doing here? Like just adding that extra value where they might not, or thinking outside the box, where because they've got a clear vision, sometimes they don't see the outside or the bigger picture.
Yeah, so to kind of stop them getting stuck into not looking at the whole thing. What do you think then are the most common things that you have to help clients get past on projects?
I don't know whether it's necessarily get past things. It's more just adding, being able to add insight, or even kind of add expertise where we need to do this, and what do we need to do to get there, kind of thing. Sometimes we get projects as broad as that. We can get projects that kind of very streamlined. We need to do this, and to do that we need this, and it's very kind of clean and cut. And then sometimes we get people saying, I've got this problem, how can we sort it? And that's where kind of the bigger picture comes in. I hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, is there like are there similar things that are happening between some of your clients at the moment? I would imagine that obviously there's loads of topical things going on at the moment, but have these started to seep through, and have you had to start almost, you're seeing it happen so often that you're kind of approaching it and being like, okay, this is a widespread problem regardless of industry?
I think a widespread problem is just thinking from the very beginning. Definitely in the past, and what I've seen is kind of remembering what that actual key objective is, and not getting so tied into kind of, we want to do social media, for example. Like, social media is massive, we want to do it, and it's just like, oh, hang on, let's bring it back. Let's go back to the beginning. What are we trying to gain here? Whether that is brand exposure, or selling a product, or it's bringing it fully to the beginning to say, well, where are those people going to see this? Where is the most important channel? Where, what is the most important message here? What are you trying to do? And that I think is definitely something I'm seeing more and more, is the end goal's always there. Like, we always want this, but it's kind of like bringing everyone back. In marketing generally, you just want everything to happen really quickly, don't you? And a lot of the time it's bringing everyone back to the beginning and saying, let's do a step-by-step approach here, and see what we need to do from the beginning, and kind of build into a timeline of how we get to that end goal.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that there's so many people have an opinion on marketing, don't they? Like, everyone knows how they like or don't like to be marketed to. They know what campaign they think is really cool. And they have children who also have opinions, who then tell their parents, who have decision-making rights. So I can empathize with you that if you get 10 people in a room and ask them what do they think about the marketing strategy, everyone will answer something, won't they? Because everyone thinks they know a lot about it before they've actually done the research.
Absolutely. I think also, just like on that, there's a massive marketing so subjective. To one person something might look black, to another person it might look white. It's so subjective in terms of what you like and what you don't like. So I just think it's making sure that, and I think a big point to kind of take as well is marketing, not just one thing works for everyone. Which is, I suppose, the same across the board with everything. Like, I would never say do PPC or do social media and don't do anything else, because nothing else is going to work. This is the only channel. I think that's the biggest thing with marketing. It's like there's not one thing that works sole-handedly by itself. You need to be doing a lot of everything to make it work.
I think you get like two schools of thought with that, don't you? You get people who have done one thing, say social media, and it's worked really well, and they just want to rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And then you're trying to like push someone to, like you say, the bigger picture and be like, oh, maybe we could try PPC. And they're like, no, just this. Or you get the clients who are really keen to like put all their eggs across different baskets and experiment and stuff. So it's definitely divisive, I think.
Absolutely. I think the world's just changing all the time, isn't it? You can't just stick to one thing and hope for the best for the future, and just kind of think, yeah, we'll stick to that and we'll just do that, and that's the only thing that's going to work. It's kind of, we need to be evolving with the world, and with that you need to be kind of trying new things all the time.
Have there been examples of strange crossovers where actually something did work really well? I know I say this because I noticed that there's a TikTok account that I think it's for some kind of carpet salesman in the southern state of America. It's blown up on TikTok. I might be wrong on some of the details, but it's so funny because they're trying this thing, and it's like they're not professionals, but they're just giving it a go, and it's the humor of that's meant it's kind of traveled. In some ways that probably works for them. I don't know what their sales numbers are off the back of it, but you could say that actually was a surprise hit, whereby they tried something that would work for a fashionable brand and tried it in a perhaps less fashionable brand, and it worked. Are there any examples like that you've come across where you've tried something that you maybe thought didn't match a typical approach for a brand, but actually kind of got some surprising results?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Just from like a broader approach, I suppose. I would probably say kind of email marketing's kind of gone that way, maybe, or kind of everyone. There was a point where email marketing had like boomed, and like direct mail was phasing out, and all the print stuff was not working as well as it should. So there was a point where email marketing was like, we'll do that, and we'll do email marketing, and I suppose there's an argument to say that email marketing now isn't really the best route to market, and everyone's behind it. But again, with the world changing, is direct mail now the new best thing because nobody's getting them anymore? That I've not gotten a specific example where kind of something we didn't think something would work and it worked amazing, but I think email marketing as a broad kind of subject kind of might be going that way. I don't think it's something that we should get rid of, by all means, so don't hold me to that. But I think, it's something that was working it worked for a period of time. Everyone's jumped on the bandwagon of it, and now I can imagine you too. I get thousands of emails every day, and I just delete. Yeah. Don't want to read any of them, and that's kind of what's happening in the digital world, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. You meet this there's a saturation, there's like a balance between being really good at something, perfecting your craft and doing it for years, and then it gets saturated. And that will either, if it's ads, it might be the cost per click goes up so much that you can only afford to do it if you're selling oil or something. And if it's something else, like if it's email marketing, you got like the lowest common denominator of approaches where people just email absolute horrendous stuff that means that none of the other stuff works, even if it's quite good, right? And that's it's a kind of a constant battle, isn't it, to find something new, but then learn it quick enough to be good at it and be able to help people with it before it becomes old again. And it comes full circle to direct mail, as you said.
Yeah, and I think again, it's just kind of knowing your audience, who you're going to, who's like to receive it. There's so much to think about when you're thinking about kind of best routes, and messaging's massive. Have you got the right message? Even things like the subject message of an email can be like a massive factor on if that person's going to open that email or not. And then there's like also the other hand where it's emails can be, are they more deliverable depending on what's being put in that subject line? There's so much to think about, but I think the common denominator on all of this is marketing in general. Everything in conjunction kind of works together. There's not, like we said, there's not just because you send one email out on one campaign doesn't mean it's going to boom.
Yeah, you guys do like quite a combination of a lot. I almost said multi-level marketing because I was reading something about pyramid schemes, but it's not that. Multi-channel marketing. You do like quite a lot of a broad range of stuff, don't you? Depending on the client and where their audience lives. What kind of direct mail stuff do you do? Because I'm fairly new to that.
So direct mail is not really something I touched on much recently. Just again because of the way that the world's kind of gone. Obviously, everyone's trying to be more ecologically friendly. But actually, going off from that, we had a recent request for seeded paper, which seems to be the new thing. Direct mail that you can print on and then put it in your garden once you've got it, and it kind of grows into something because it's got
really?
Yeah, so that obviously in line with what's going on in the world at the minute, that seems to be the new thing. It definitely, I think it was something that I kind of touched on a few years ago or maybe last year, but obviously naturally it's more expensive than your normal direct mail, but yeah, it seems to be kind of a new thing that people are doing, and it's a great like from my point of view, it's a brilliant idea. If you can print on paper that you can then recycle in your back garden and grow something off the back of it, then brilliant.
So good for the brand as well. That's something you'd always remember. Like, oh, do you remember that direct mail that came through the door and now it's a thriving bush in the garden? Like, if you're an early adopter, incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about kind of the amount of different businesses out there who have got these new targets for, like net zero by 2040, or electric cars coming in and stuff like that, they need to be at the forefront of all of this transformation, and that kind of shows from the very beginning that you're thinking about that side of things, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Is it a common conversation, sustainability, when it comes to your clients or prospects, or like when you're talking to people? Does it come up more and more?
Yeah. So obviously one of my biggest clients is their main subject. So it's definitely something that I personally experience day in, day out. It's always at the forefront of their minds in particular. But yeah, I think it's something that kind of, it's worldwide, isn't it? It's not just something that is kind of happening in one industry or one client of ours. It's kind of happening across the globe at the minute. Everyone is, there's a big focus on it. Obviously we've got the net zero, the dates are a bit, not sure on all the dates, they keep changing, but it is something that is kind of being brought up day in, day out, on like how we help, and we're a big part of that.
Yeah.
Do you in-house have to sort of, obviously you guys will have your own sustainability targets to meet. So when like say if a client came in and was like, oh, I want to print out 1 million leaflets and post them locally kind of thing, would you guys ever like advise, oh, maybe you can do this digitally instead in order to be more sustainable? Both to obviously help their brand image, but also to meet your sustainability. Is that something that you guys find yourself doing? Because you do a lot more like traditional media than we would, for example.
Yeah, so I suppose it goes back to that core objective at the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
How are we reaching these people or businesses, depending on kind of who you're working with. I think it's something that we all have in the back of our mind, kind of thing. Like there's always something, and it's not necessarily, I suppose it's not necessarily kind of that really. It's more, are we going to hit people better through email on this? Like that's the every business has got an objective to hit, haven't they, I suppose? And it's kind of, with that particular campaign, is that something, is that route to market the best one for that campaign? And it might be that digital is a better route to market on that situation, but it also might be that actually the leaflet printing is better. I think generally as a agency, we always try and look for the most kind of ecological, the best ecological route, in terms of, I think a lot of people are moving away from like laminated, like big direct mails that are full of plastic and all of that kind of stuff. So I think everyone, I mean, speaking freely here, I think everyone in the industry is kind of thinking that way. Ultimately it's what's best for that campaign and who you're trying to target.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can raise it from a moral standpoint, or like, we should do this because we should be doing it. But what will always get things actually moving is when you raise it from a commercial standpoint, and why your clients will care about it, or the clients' clients will care about it, or customers will care about it. Therefore, we should do it. I think whenever you anchor it to that and the commercial power of it, you'll always get more results, right, when it comes to this stuff. Unfortunately, because that's just the way things are set up. You have to argue the business case for it. But in most cases now, I think we're past the awareness stage of that whole thing, that there comes so many consumers care about it that businesses have to anyway.
Point now, aren't they? Nobody's kind of, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do like so much print, or I think everyone's in the view of, we need to be helping, we all need to be chipping in here. So I don't have that tough conversation or conversations very often.
Definitely. The thing for us that we've noticed in terms of like trends is, we've noticed, like, in terms of messaging, people have searched for like cheap a lot more than best of. Like they might look for best restaurant near me, whereas now it might be best value. There'll be slight subtleties in terms of that. I know you could point at cost of living, you could point at many things, but are there any other any things like that you've noticed in terms of how people are approaching communication with their audience, the trends that have come up recently that you think, okay, the way that we talk about these campaigns needs to change?
Weirdly, no, I've not really experienced much myself in my role. I think naturally, it's something that's kind of come in waves over the last 2 years. You know, obviously in 2020 when everything kind of hit into a pandemic, it definitely was a conversation then. That was when I definitely saw clients of mine being like, you know, we need to keep costs down here. We need to, you know, think of the best route without going too expensive. It then kind of came back a little bit. They were willing to spend, well, naturally, marketing had to be ramped up again because everything was starting to open again. People wanted to know what was going on. So I think at the minute, well, personally for me, it kind of is sitting on like a stagnant kind of, nobody really knows what's going on with the way that the world's going at the minute. But it's not something that I've naturally noticed over the last month or so. Yeah, I don't think I've really. I definitely can understand that people will be looking for cheap things, but personally, me in my role, there's not kind of been a shift like there was back in 2020.
Yeah, what surprised me about the trade show like re-emergence, which we're seeing as well, is like I thought changing behaviors is really hard, isn't it, in any organization? But what is set in the budget is set. Like, so if you've got a budget for trade shows, then it's there, and it was seen as quite a drastic change to take the money out of that and spend it on something new. Like you could do like a print marketing, or you could do some SEO or whatever. It's quite a bold thing to do. So when we kind of collapsed all of any physical attendance to anything, I'm surprised to see it all just pop back up again and just be like, oh, well, we used to do it before the pandemic, so we'll do it after. And whilst we've seen like a lot of digital transformation in terms of people are investing in those things, that these new routes to market that have worked for them, like paid advertising and things like that, it does surprise me that her budget has kind of just come straight back, the trade show budget, because I don't know, it's one of those things that surely isn't. I don't know if they're getting the same results as they would do from some of the digital options or some of the more direct options than these trade shows. I guess it comes down to like kind of habitual budget spending and what you're investing in when it comes to campaigns. It's a strange one, isn't it?
I think as well, though, you have to remember that although obviously the pandemic marketing was scaled back and such, those that were investing in particularly digital media had the most captive audience they could ever have. And as a result, lots of, especially B2C based clients, got a mass more of customers who were all at home saving money because they're not going out buying things. And so they amassed quite a lot of revenue for that year. And so they've kind of got it to spend now on marketing. I know that's what I've seen in particular in like some of the PPC clients as well. So I think it's probably the same is true probably of trade shows, in that people were sat sort of on nest eggs, if you like, that they weren't using their budget for. And we all know in working in agencies, if you don't use your marketing budget, then you're going to lose it. So I'm not surprised to see it, I don't think, even if it's not necessarily as beneficial as spending the same amount of money on something digital or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like there's an argument to say, you know, people have missed it, you know, so that budget is kind of needed, you know, like that, those things that worked a couple of years ago that kind of became really stagnant when pandemic hit. People have we've had just under 2 years of kind of being behind screens, being stuck in, you know, even things like meetings, which is very separate to this, but meetings and like meeting people face to face, like that was so non-existent for so long that the minute we were allowed to again, it was like, quickly go and meet them, be face to face, do this. And so I think people are recognizing that it just goes back to my theory of you got to put your budget into everything, because not wanting works. You know, if you've got an event and then you've got marketing going with it and digital and search on Google, because that's never going away, everyone does it, you know, if you've got all of it, you can't really go wrong. But so to go back to your point, Jason, with being surprised, I agree to some extent, but also I think it's good that the people recognize that, you know, we do want that again to a level, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think also, like, if all of your competitors are in at that trade show, there's also an element of, okay, like, if they're there, we probably need to be there too. I think we've definitely won some business before by showing clients what their competitors are doing. It's not necessarily, we will only do it if we believe that there's good results and opportunity there as well. But I think it definitely inspires action when people, it's basically fear of missing out, isn't it? It's like that, but on a B2B level, inspiring change.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I was going to say, seeing as Anna says it's important to have everything, maybe we should move on to our next bit, which makes you order the most important ones.
Yeah.
I was looking at this before and
That's all right. Nobody will be offended. We asked this to all of our guests. So, if you had to put them in order of importance out of PPC, social media, that includes organic and paid, email marketing, and SEO, what order would you put them in?
okay, so I think generally, I would say SEO is the most important. Social media, then PPC, and I put email at the bottom, only because it's so saturated at the minute. I wouldn't ever say to get rid of it, and I know you're going to ask me that next question, what would you get rid of? I would never say to get rid of it, but I think that for me kind of sits at the bottom just because of how saturated it is at the minute.
No, we're not going to ask you to get rid of one. Don't worry. We offer all of those services, so we're not going to cast any of them aside. This question is probably quite tricky to answer, as you work with loads of different clients. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your current marketing strategy? So I guess you can answer that from the perspective of the agency or the perspective of the overall umbrella view of your clients.
Good. Or okay. It's definitely something that we are working on, in terms of getting marketing strategy at the forefront of everyone's mind. It's personally something I'm really trying to push. Again, just bringing people back to that very beginning, like trying to plan from the beginning, stop being reactive, plan everything, swing ahead. So I don't know. It's a really tricky question. I'd probably say we're sitting at 5.
Ooh.
So
we're
kind of halfway there.
Yeah.
I think, and again, it's a real mindset adjustment. It's really trying to bring everyone back to the beginning again, and really strategically plan how we're going to get to the end goal.
Yeah. Well, my next question was, what do you think is the most important factor in improving that score? But I guess you've kind of answered that in that you want everyone to sort of work backwards from their goal rather than just have an idea and act on it. Is that would you agree? Do you think that's the key?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I also think that like every marketing campaign should have a again, going back to what I was saying before about touching base on each marketing platform, everyone should have a multi-channel campaign approach, where we're thinking about whether that be as small as, like, I don't know, just talking out that term, but maybe even direct mail and email, like just as something as small as those. Obviously, generally with huge marketing campaigns, you're going to be wanting to think about everything and what comes out on what platform, when and why, and the messaging and stuff like that, because across the board they're all very different and they all speak to different customers in different ways. But yeah, it's just kind of really going back to that. Let's think about the beginning of all of this, how it's going to be best reached, budget allocated to different channels, and kind of really working. It's difficult because across all my clients and all the jobs that I've had, everyone wants everything now. And that's the biggest thing. It's like that's the biggest kind of obstacle, I would say, as an account manager that you come against, is like making sure that you're actually bringing your clients back in the room and saying, we all want this goal for you, we all want to get there, but we've got to really think strategically about how we're going to get there and what's going to get you the best results. And sometimes they aren't always overnight. Obviously, instances where they can instantly happen and it would be great, but a lot of the time it's a strategic approach that can take months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, go on, Jason.
It's funny on that because the list that you put out as well, the SEO probably being best, followed by social media or paid organic, and then PPC and then email marketing. They probably are listed also in order of what is the quickest, what takes the longest to the quickest. So where you could put an email marketing campaign out in no time at all and send it to a purchase list. But SEO is like 9 to 12 months. So we know as marketers what is valuable, but it's also the hardest one to get clients to agree on, because it's like, well, this is going to benefit the guy that comes after me, perhaps.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? And I suppose there's an argument to it as well, you know, where search, again, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not a guru in this, but search is kind of predominantly for, you know, brand awareness, getting your name out there, getting kind of specific things that you want to talk about through the search engine, whereas kind of an email marketing campaign can literally be like, we want to sell this and we want to sell 10 by tomorrow, and then of that you can send a really strong marketing email out that says like, offer on, buy now, and then some people do it. Amazon probably do it. I've not had an email from Amazon for a long time, but you know, Amazon probably do it where they want to sell a product or want to get it off the shelves, and they send just like an offer on now, and you can literally just click it and buy it. So like in that, it's a really quick win. So it I suppose it just goes back on that beginning goal. What do you want to do here? What are we doing? How are we addressing this? Which search obviously is great for brand. Email might be great for quick sells. It's so diverse. It would all depend on the marketing campaign from the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we move on to our next section? This is the fun one. So I know, Anna, before we started recording, you said, don't ask me anything about politics. And don't worry, we're not going to. But this bit is called influencer or politician. So it's kind of like, whose line is it anyway? I'll read a quote from someone, and you guys have to guess if it's an influencer or a politician. And if you can guess who said it as well, I guess you get bonus points.
Okay.
Politician said it. Never.
Okay, I'll try and start with a nice, easy one. So you and Jason are both playing this, by the way. Jason hasn't seen these before either. Okay. Sometimes you have to face up to your fears and realise they aren't actually real. Influencer or politician?
Yeah, 100% influencer.
You are both correct. Do you know who it is?
Sounds like someone that's like been on like a reality TV like Love Island, but then has since been through some bad stuff and has started to become a bit of a mentor for self-development.
Jason, you're good at this.
Well, I can't think of anyone that fits that bill, but yeah.
Well, it could be anyone, in terms of anyone who kind of is promoting a positive mindset, or you know, I'm thinking someone like Stephen Bartlett or Fern Cotton or like that, you know, who.
Yeah, it could be.
I don't actually know who the person is. I'm fairly certain she was a YouTuber though, and it's Zoella.
Oh, right, yeah.
Is that kind of her background?
I don't really know. I kind of know of her. I think
she's makeup, isn't she? Makeup.
Yeah, I thought maybe makeup.
I'm not sure. I should probably know that, but I don't.
Okay, this one should be fairly easy. It's very hard for them to attack me on looks because I am very good looking. Who said that? Influencer or politician?
David Cameron. That's so obviously influencer, but I don't know who would say that.
I'm gonna say, and I'm not gonna say, I'm gonna say influencer, and I'm gonna say that it was a jokey comment from someone like James Smith.
Yeah.
Jason, what are you saying?
Yeah. Do you include Tommy Fury or Tyson Fury as like it sounds like something they might say, but I don't know if they're included as an influencer. They do influence people, but yeah, I don't know that. I don't have a name.
Okay, well, I'm very
Let me think.
I'm very sad to say that it's actually a politician. And
Yeah.
it was one of the most powerful ones at the time. It was Donald Trump.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was obviously an influencer. Okay. He's an influencer. Well, he was an influencer before he was a politician, wasn't he? He was a
I guess so, yeah. He was reality TV, wasn't he? So
I
he
didn't
straddles.
crazy.
Shall we do another one? Right, okay. You, you can say a lot of things about me, but you cannot say I don't work hard. Influencer or politician?
It's like,
Kim Kardashian, influencer.
You're both guessing influencer. You are both correct, but it is Molly May Hague.
Ah, okay.
So,
I
well
thought
done.
politician. I was gonna say it
Oh,
was,
did you say politician?
yeah, I think it is, but you know.
No, well, Molly May Hague, who knows? She's dominating the fashion industry, so who long knows, she might be in politics for too long. Okay, I'll do one more because I think you're level on points. So this is the tiebreaker. I have as much chance of becoming Prime Minister as I do being decapitated by a frisbee of Finding Elvis.
That's a politician.
Yeah.
And it's probably Boris Johnson.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Is it?
It is indeed. You both guessed that though, so you're both still level.
Are we gonna
We
have
need to crown a winner, guys. We need to crown a winner. You're too agreeable.
I usually rubbish at this, Jason.
Have you got another one?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of one that might be divisive. The quality of your mind is the quality of your life.
Influencer. I feel like a politician wouldn't say that. Oh, actually, maybe them. I don't know. I'm gonna go influencer.
Go an influencer. Jason? Really thinking this one through.
I'll go for politician, but like a one that says quite outlandish things, like the one who did the like Big Brother's house. What's his name? George. You know, and he did the like licking of the cat.
Oh yeah, what was his name?
George something, wasn't it? George.
Yeah, it was George.
I don't know. Yeah, him. I'm guessing it's
Anna,
not him.
you are the winner. It was Addison Rae, who is an influencer, apparently.
Yay! I never win anything. This is great.
There you go. What an accolade to have. You can tell apart influencers and politicians, so.
Right,
Okay,
we've got-
Jason, do you want to do the third section?
Yeah, so strategy analogy. We're going to do a random word generator. And when I generate this with words, we've got to create a marketing analogy based around it. And the word is acid.
Sid.
A marketing analogy to acid.
Yeah. How does marketing relate to acid?
You're really good at these. I've seen a few clips of you, Astra, and you're.
Yeah, cheers.
Maybe, God, this is going to be nerdy. It's kind of touching on your argument, Anna. So in chemical reactions, you have to have an acid as a base, an alkali, and a salt in order for them to react. And just like a marketing strategy, you need a good solid base, but 2 or 3 other things working in order to generate a big bang.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you, chemistry GCSE. Woo!
I'm ages trying to think of one. And we all got to think of one.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
got to give it a go.
I'm rubbish at this kind of thing.
It doesn't have to be serious. You think the sillier the better, actually.
Okay. I don't know. So maybe something like, in some cases, acid can do quite a bit of damage.
Mhm.
So can your marketing do some damage in a good way? So
Like
and
it?
it can do damage in a bad way more often than not. But I feel like marketing can do damage in a really good way.
This is true, but it can be disruptive, I guess, which is good. I like it. Nice, Anna. Nicely done. Jason, last but not least.
Have we stole any of your ideas?
I was going to go with the science one, but I couldn't remember what the name of the other thing was called. Alkaline. That's fine. I wasn't going to use anything as good as that, though. It wasn't going to be like that. Sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture, right, to really understand
styling.
what's the point of your campaign. So you can easily get too focused on the details, and in the end, you can spend so much time just focusing on that you're just not realizing how good all of the work is that you're doing, and actually you're on the right path, and you just need to maybe just take a wider view. People have told me that when you take acid, you get a slightly more holistic viewpoint of the world, and you're able to see the universe. And that's why marketing is like acid.
Very good. Nicely saved at the last minute.
Yeah. You
People
can see
have
I was making it
told
up
you.
as I went along.
Well, I think before you say anything incriminating, we should probably end it there.
Please,
Yeah.
disclaimer, please do not go down that route. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, do not.
You do not need drugs for good marketing.
No. Do marketing, don't do acid. It would be
Yeah.
my.
There's a good one.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, you should have just said that.
You'll get much richer from marketing than acid, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Anna, for coming on. We always give people an opportunity to kind of promote if there's anything that they'd like to promote at this point.
So obviously you mentioned the fitness classes. Obviously live in two separate worlds at the minute. I live in well, they're not really separate, I suppose. They're very intertwined in many ways. But kind of, I suppose the fitness thing. Obviously you mentioned my Instagram for anyone who is interested in getting fit for the mind, and then obviously Fluid, and the marketing that we do for Fluid. So like you said many times on your in this podcast, we do a range of different marketing, and we work with great people. So if anyone's out there looking for a marketing strategy or somewhere to go with their marketing, we are the place to go.
So you can find Anna Holloway on LinkedIn, and on Instagram at Holloway xfitness_. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Astra. It was really good to speak to you all.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
No worries.